So what drove the market in 2018? So for us, I think it was no surprise that it was a buyer's market right across the Edmonton area. And outside of the obvious of the oil prices and the economy affecting those things, I think the biggest thing that was affecting our sector of the market were the mortgage interest rates and the stress test. Those were big ones. I have literally completely lost track of how many changes they've had over the last couple of years, and I think it's in the 4 or 5 range. So that's pretty big. I do have some statistics for you. I just have notes off to the side, so don't think that I'm looking off to the side for no other reason. It was the entry-level market that was the one that flourished, so that 300 to 400 price range. Okay, you guys, that's the one that saw the most action. And when we get into what happens in Edmonton real estate, it was a micro market type of market. And I think this is actually really common across the country, and it seems to be something that a lot of people don't talk about or even really know about. So if you hear houses are selling and I got 12 offers and I went into multiple offers on my property, and you live in a completely different area of town in a completely different house, that may or may not happen for you. So it's one thing to have this information, it's completely another to interpret it and how it applies to you as a homeowner. So we're going to get into those sort of things in the last part of the video, but just for now, back to what happened in 2018. Sales were down every quarter. I think we knew that. We downshifted across the board. It wasn't like this, you guys. It was just kind of like this a little bit, like a little fishy swimming along. Unit sales saw a 5.24% decrease from what we predicted. So we do these predictions every year, and these are not my predictions. These are chief economists, Bank of Canada, CMHC type of people who make these predictions for the Edmonton surrounding area, and we just give you the info. So we thought this many houses were going to sell and 5.24% less of them sold. I am going to put out a few corresponding blog posts so you'll see some stats and some charts and some graphs. If you're into that sort of thing, you can kind of go and track and go and look at the numbers and see what happened. But I think it was the final stress test and everything that sort of changed that for us. But it was neat to see. And there's 2 types of forecasts. We've talked to this before, I think. Lucky and wrong. I think that's super funny. So everything's just a best guess, I guess. Average prices, single family has remained virtually unchanged, which is kind of nice, and that should be encouraging for you. If that's support in the storm, I think you can hold on to that. Condos did drop 1.88%, and I think that's of no surprise to anybody. I think, and we'll talk about this in the next segment as well, but I wouldn't let that be a huge concern for you guys, because something else that's changed is the vacancy rate. The vacancy rate has actually decreased. Everything's supply and demand, we know that too. So if the vacancy rate is decreasing and we're seeing rents on the rise, and you have a great little condo, I know a few of you do, and we have them currently rented, and I think you just need to stay there. You need to stay there, you need to keep them rented if you can, and let's just wait for the market to recover enough so we're getting to a point where we can actually sell it, where you're not losing lots of money, or you actually might make some money. Whatever you want to do. Or maybe you keep it as a rental. I don't know. That's up to you. Inventory at the end of the year, that was the biggest one. So we saw longer days on market. That was a big trend for 2018. And we saw more inventory. So prices, I mean, sometimes when they sold, they actually, you know, like it made sense, and people may or may not have made money, but the price made sense. But it took twice as long to sell. So single family units were up 595 December to December, so year over year from 2017 to 2018. 595 more units were still in the market. As well, the condo was up 187, duplex row 152. It doesn't sound bad, but that doesn't factor into the actives that were still sitting on the market through the time change in the year there, or the new year rather. And it doesn't factor in the expired and the withdrawn listings. So the average price of a home across all categories, so factoring in, you know, condos, which have the lowest entry level point in the market, all the way up, even vacant land, we're looking at a $375,000 average. Different, I've heard different numbers. I've read a lot of articles this week, and I've heard everything from 373 to 379 and somewhere in there, but I think 375 is a number we can remember and does make the most sense. So that's what happened in the 2018 market.